I don't think that's supposed to look like that. Hey everybody, welcome back to Ostentatious. My name's Jack, and this is my 1987 S10 Blazer that we're getting ready for Hot Rod Power Tour. Now, in this episode, as you can see from the beginning, we're taking the rear end out of the truck. So let's go ahead and get that rear end the rest of the way out of here, and I'll talk to you about what I did to get it loose and get it out. As y'all can see, I got the rear end out of the Blazer. So now that I've actually done the work and got the rear end out, let's talk a little bit about the things I had to do to prep to get this thing out of this Blazer. Obviously, from the last video, we've already talked about the shocks, differences there. So we're going to kind of skip over that a little bit, then talk about the rest of this process. I'm sure you all probably cringed a little bit there if you saw where I cut the vent hose. Don't worry about that. I have a good solution for it. I figure since the rear end is going to be a little bit higher, that little bit of vent hose isn't really going to matter since I'm going to be 6 inches higher on my suspension anyway, which the rear end probably won't push up the full 6 inches, but it'll be enough for it to work. Let's talk about what I had to do to get this rear end loose. So normally you would have your gas tank out of the way. You've got to get these lower tank straps out of the way, and it'll drop down, do all your stuff in the gas filler neck. I never had that problem to start with, so let's work on me. Next up are these absolute pain upper shock mounts. I loathe these things. You have to come from the top with a 1/2 inch and from the bottom. I'm not sure what these are called, these base plates that go under the leaf springs that the shocks mount to. I removed the bolts holding the shocks there, and I beat the living fire out of the shocks until they came off. For the U-bolts that go through the plates, over the leaf spring, and the rear end back down, what I did, the inside ones, they were stubborn. I got them a little bit loose, but I didn't want to fight them all day long because I don't have a Milwaukee impact. I do have a Bauer, but it's only like 370 pounds of torque. I need a Milwaukee. The outside ones, I was able to get them off with no problem. So what I did on the inside U-bolts, I came in about this high on the rear end, and I cut the U-bolts in half on one side from the back side of it. And I was able to get it loose enough to where I could actually turn those, and they just fell right off the rear end. So that's how I got those loose. Next up, there's little pins right here that the rear end mounts into, and the mounts are on the bottom of this piece here. There's a little divot in there where that goes into. So basically what I did is I lifted the rear end up and pushed it forward on both sides, and then on the driver's side I lifted it and I shoved it in and I set it down on the ground. The rest of it, well, you saw the rest of it. Now let's take a good look at all the things I had to do to the rear end itself to get it ready for pulling. First off, I came in here on the back where the wheel cylinders have the brake lines come in. I'm putting all new brake lines in, so I just cut it right there. You'll see all the brake lines are still here. The next thing I had to do for those was come on the back of the rear end. On both sides, there's one of these little tabs. They are pushed up around the brake line. I took a little screwdriver and I pressed these out. Also, on this legendary 7.5 inch rear end, I came over here and you can actually see the spot where something is semi-clean. These brake lines had a little tab that bolted onto the rear end here. There was something bolted on this one as well. I can't remember what it was. I took that off. And then finally, I cut the vent line. Now, there is one of these little squeeze clips that everybody despises here that you can pull and figure out a way to wiggle that off. But I figured since I'm lifting it up a little bit more, it's not going to hurt to get rid of that. So that's basically the entire process. That's how you take the rear end out of an S10 Blazer. Now, granted, except for those upper shock bolts, the process for an S10 is exactly the same. And like I said in the last video, I don't know round body Blazers. Some square body Blazers, the upper shocks are different. There's videos on both ways now because I put this one out and the other one. Thank you all for watching Instantatious. My name is Jack. Everybody have a great week. Like, comment, subscribe, watch some more videos there. Click that bell and hit all notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and if you don't want to give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. But be responsible and accountable. If you give me a thumbs down, tell me why you gave me a thumbs down. I'll be accountable and fix things where I can if you're accountable and tell me what I need to fix. I'll see y'all next time.